Welcome to the Addicted to DVC podcast, a deep dive into all things Disney Vacation Club. We share tips, tricks, and insider info, helping you make the most of your membership. Join us for the latest news, reviews, and interviews with DVC experts and enthusiasts. Whether you're a seasoned DVC member or considering your first contract, this podcast is for you. Now, here are your hosts, Mike Hurley and Gary Arruda.
Welcome to the Addicted to DVC podcast with Mike and Gary. This is episode 43, recorded in the D. Fauntleroy Recording Studios in Sarasota, Florida, and Cranston, Rhode Island. I'm your host, Mike in Florida, joined by my cousin and co-host Gary up in Rhode Island. Good evening, Gary.
What's going on, Pards?
Not much, buddy.
How you doing?
I'm doing great.
Yeah? What's new in your neck of the woods?
We won our quota game. I tied Mr. Casciano for individual quota, so we're back into it.
Oh, nice.
Best my knees have felt in about 4 months. I absolutely annihilated a drive. I was out past the bunkers into the wind on 17.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I got it out there. Yeah. Only
Nice
made a
if you
handful
had
of
that
double
in March.
bogeys. I know. A lot of what ifs. What ifs in that March member guest.
Yeah.
Is it that you're improving or that the competition's gone?
No, we're starting to figure out how to play the game. It's a game that you have to play.
Okay.
You got to make people putt 2-footers and just stare at them.
Yeah, they
It's
didn't
gonna
make
be
that.
that kind of match, huh? You don't even nod. You just stare at them like a sick, demented person I am.
Oh, that's easy.
12th. Is that good? What do you think, Gary? No, I've seen him putt. Make him putt.
Duffy wasn't happy with you, was he?
You're not that nice.
No.
I mean, you are nice. You wouldn't say I've seen him putt it.
No, I wouldn't say that, but I might not give the putt.
Yeah. Anyways, we have Susie joining us.
Hello.
Good evening, Susie.
Hi.
Gary, 1 year ago, this is our Addicted to DVC podcast with Mike and Gary. 1 year ago, it was my second date with Hippie Guy. That's when we were down in the bar watching the final round of the PGA Championship.
Oh, that's right. You were on the cruise.
I was on the cruise.
First date.
Because we watched it on Saturday. That was the first time I met him.
No, but we got on the cruise on the 18th.
Well, I'm just talking on a Saturday. We got on a cruise on a Saturday. We don't need you. You want me to cut your mic?
I didn't want to be here in the first place.
Well, that's a good point.
Yes, as a matter of fact, I think I would like you to cut my mic and fire me, please.
Yeah, if that was a wrong choice of words or wrong questioning that.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, so yeah, we were up until I even went to bed. Remember, I put it on in the room and I watched the end.
It was very late.
And then we had to get off the boat in about 5 hours to go see Florence. That was a rough first day.
That was only last year. That feels so long ago.
Isn't that crazy?
Like if you told me, if you put a gun to my head, I would have said that was 2 years ago that you went.
Oh no, it feels shorter for us.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it feels shorter for us.
Yeah, you
Anyway,
missed it. You missed the cruise.
I do. I love that cruise. That was so
Yeah.
much fun. Don't you miss it?
Mm-hmm.
All the good food, Italy, all the smoking,
I don't miss this.
all the what kind of scooters are they? Vespers?
Vespas,
Yeah.
Little teeny tiny Fiats.
Yeah. Anyways, we've got a lot to talk about.
Yeah,
today.
let's go.
We got a lot to talk about. So we're going to do a little Riviera review.
Ooh.
I love talking about that resort. We're up there for 3 nights.
In a studio, right? The tower.
That's incorrect. That's why that's the main reason for the second contract, so that we didn't have to be with the little peons and stay in studios anymore. I mean, there is 2 of us, Pards. We needed something a little roomier, right?
Yeah, definitely. This was your first stay in a 1-bedroom. Yeah.
In a 1-bedroom, yeah. So what did we do? We got up there. We drop off all the bags.
Uh-huh.
I showed you our haul. You guys were flabbergasted, weren't you?
We were making fun of you, yes.
Had that big cooler with all of our food. Had a big bag.
You guys could have moved there. You had enough stuff in your car to probably live there for the rest
That
of your
was
life.
Not true.
I would not have been upset, other than the fact that Rhodey's back here with the pet sitter. I would not be
other than
upset.
that, yeah.
Yeah. So what did we do? We unloaded everything. I parked the car,
Hmm.
and then we came in and checked in.
Correct. You had some specific requests.
So I had some requests, and I asked the girl, I said, this is a lot. I said, but number one, just non-accessible. I said, I can't do the low beds. I said, so non-accessible on the highest floor. And if you do have the West Wing, it's a West Wing, right? With
Yep.
the tower. I said, if you do have that, that would be great. I said, but if you have to put me down staring at air conditioners, I understand because we got the cheapest room. So she's like, let me go see what I can do. So about 5 minutes later, she came out. She's like, yep. She's like, all of that's going to be available. And I'm like, I don't mind waiting because we're going to go to the Magic Kingdom. So, and she's like, yeah, we got you taken care of. So he's like, just wait for our text. So we headed over to the Magic Kingdom. I looked on Lines WDW, formerly Touring Plans. Looked at wait times over at the Magic Kingdom. Overall, it was a 3, which you like seeing that, don't you?
That's a good thing.
And I saw that Tiana's Bayou was like 35 minutes. I'm like, got to go over there and do that.
Yeah.
So we went over there. We did that.
I just want to interrupt you.
Go ahead.
And mention that you did ask the woman at Riviera if you were being a pain in the butt by requesting.
I did
specific
ask
things.
that.
And she said, absolutely not.
She said, we want you to be happy. Yep. And if it's available, we'll be able to take care of you. Because a lot of times they'll give you first available. They'll see a room's already been clean and say, oh, we actually have something available. I made a point to say, I'll wait hours. I'm not going to be bugging you to, is a room ready? Is a room ready? But if there's any way that we can get on a higher floor.
Now, do you feel, well, I guess you never check in on the app and you never do like requests ahead of time. I was going to say, do you feel like asking in person is better?
Yes.
I just don't.
Yes,
I
because
don't know
I've gone through member services and they say they can't guarantee anything, obviously, and then they always tell you to double check when you get there. But I do not like mobile check-in. I'm old school. I kind of like the face-to-face.
Yeah, I don't mind that aspect of it. I just meant as far as requests go. Like checking in doesn't really affect your requests. I wouldn't think. If you didn't say anything at the time of check-in, you're not going to be more likely to get. I wonder if like requesting ahead makes more of a difference than doing it at the time of check-in.
I don't know.
I don't know, but I did read somewhere that you can also call the hotel ahead of time and ask. But I think getting to the actual front desk at Riviera can be tricky.
Yes. Yeah, because you're going to get through that 800 number.
Yeah, that's definitely true. There's not always a person at that location that's going to be talking to you.
So anyway, sorry, I just wanted to point that out.
Well, we appreciate the value add that you bring to this show.
I think it's a good point though, because if you're just nice and reasonable about it, they're going to do what they can to accommodate.
Sure.
Now, if you went up there and said, I'd like to be upgraded to a 3-bedroom villa, please. I mean, they're probably going to tell you to pounce in, but you're looking for a room still in your category. You're just asking for things that you would prefer.
Correct.
And you didn't demand it. You weren't rude about it. You just asked nicely and were polite, and they're probably going to try to get it done if they can when you act that way. Instead of being Pete Werner and complaining about people riding the golf carts around the resort, you were a kind gentleman and just said, if you could do this, it'd be great. I don't mind waiting extra.
The golf carts. I love that one.
Yeah. So anyway.
Yep. So we went over the Magic Kingdom.
Was your Magic Band linked? Did you remember to do that ahead of time?
I did. What, for the reservation?
Yeah.
I did. Yes, sir.
First time for everything.
Absolutely. And the guard, I knew damn well I was not going to have to pull out the ID for this check-in. So what do we do after that? That was when the 3:00 parade was starting. We went over. You wanted to check out the DVC lounge.
Yeah, I said, we're over here. Why don't we just see if we can get in?
Oh, yeah.
So we went over and put our name in, and they said we were 46th on the list.
Oh, boy.
which I didn't know what that meant. So I'm like,
No,
okay,
that
whatever.
sounds like a lot, but
Yeah, it sounds like a lot. So we watched the parade.
Mm-hmm.
Then we went over and we did Small World.
Yep.
And then the People Mover was down. So, of course, what's the next best? I mean, what is the best thing?
Carousel
Is we
Progress.
did Carousel of Progress. And then we were getting hungry. It was not getting later, but it was, our lunchtime around 4-ish. So we're getting around there, and I said, hey, I was looking at the Contempo Cafe. They had a pretty good menu. So we pretty much headed, we're going to go over the Contempo Cafe.
Yep.
We walked by to look at the sandwiches over at the Plaza, but
Mhm.
that was packed, and I knew we weren't even going to be able to get a standby.
Right.
So at that time, I felt the vibration. I got a new text. I'm like, ooh, this might be good. I look, and it said that we have 10 minutes to get over there and that they're ready to seat us.
At the Plaza?
No, over at the DVC Lounge.
Oh, the DVC Lounge.
Yeah, we were just going to get the heck out of there.
Yeah.
And we got the text, and they give you 10 minutes to get there, but they tell you to go on rides and hang out. So we got over there. They sat us, and what'd you think?
I thought it was really nice. I would say it's smaller than some of the other ones that we've been in, and they don't have a restroom in the facility. You have to go outside, which is not a big deal to me.
Yeah.
But I think the theming is incredible. I thought the service was really great. They were really friendly. Everybody was cleaning. They were constantly restocking snacks.
They came around with a tray of cookies.
Oh, that's cool. The soda machine and everything, right?
Yeah, I had what do you have? A soda, and then we had coffee later.
Soda machines and a couple coffee machines, and then they had sour cream and onion chips. They had some baked Lays, and then those got swapped out for some apple chips, and then they had some Teddy Grahams.
And there's like chargers everywhere too, right?
Yes.
Yeah, there were a ton of chargers. It was nice. They were doing like DVC trivia on one of the screens.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was nice.
I guess my only critique, and there's not really anything you can do about it, but usually, like for a lounge like that, you're not usually going to want to wait an hour to get into it, I would think. Like if you happen to be there when you get the text, all right, we'll check it out. But the whole appeal of a lounge like that is when you need to, get off your feet for a few minutes. You want to walk in and go. You don't want to have to go back an hour and 20 minutes later, in my opinion. I'm not saying it's a bad, there's nothing you can do about it. It's crowded. There's only so many people they can let in, but I guess that's a membership magic thing, gets you to the front of the line. That might be a...
Yeah, it does now. At first, they didn't even know what the heck that was, which is ridiculous. You pay $100 and we're sorry. There's 700 people. No, because I go behind that last person in line.
Yeah.
Once that person leaves, then I go. So
I do think though that, on a day, like, especially now that we're getting into, the hotter weather, that you're going to take that AC break whenever you can get it.
Right. I guess my point, I'm not criticizing it. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I just feel like when you're there and you want to go in and they tell you got to come back, it's like, how many people are actually going to be in Tomorrowland and hustle over to get there in 10 minutes to sit down in a lounge?
Well, they did say though that you can text them. When you get the text, you can text and say, hey, we're like in the queue for Small World. As long as you acknowledge it, they'll kind of hold your place in line.
Because they said if you're not coming, just don't respond.
No, they said if you're not coming, please let us know.
Oh, okay. Then it was the other way. But like I asked him, I said, Sam I was just in Carousel of Progress. Say I got this text when we're just starting. I'm 20 minutes behind, before I even get off and get the text. He said, just come over. He said, we have your name. He said, we can't guarantee that we're going to seat you next, but it'll only be like a 10-minute wait after that. He's like, so we will get you in. I said, all right. I was just, because you tell us to go on rides, but if you go too far, you're at least a 10-minute walk. And if you're not in an attraction, then there's no way you're making it over there in 10 minutes.
Right. That's kind of my point.
I think they do that because a lot of people won't respond. And then if you don't respond, they just kind of knock you off and they let the next person in. I think if you communicate with them, they're going to work with you to get you in.
No, that makes a lot of sense.
They did say, though, that, when it's rainy, it takes a lot longer because people linger more, which makes
Yeah.
perfect sense.
Also makes sense. Yeah, you gotta stay. They're not kicking anybody out. There's no time limit on it, right?
Right.
Exactly.
Um,
But they did say too that, most times people don't linger because they paid, for a park day. They're in the parks and they want to do the
Yeah.
attractions.
jabronis like Susie and I are going to stay there a half hour, where other people with young kids are get a quick soda, have a couple chips, and
And get
let's
back
go on
out
our
there.
next ride, Gary.
But yeah, I really liked it. I thought it was nice.
So then we had one of those Florida downpours,
Mm-hmm.
and we were stuck under the train station, that entrance area as you come into the Magic Kingdom.
Oh,
if
so
you're
you were
walking
really
to
in a
the
bad
right.
spot. So you were trying to leave and you got stuck there.
Yeah.
That is correct. Yeah,
That's
because we
real
got the
bad.
text, and it's like, let's rock and roll. Time to get out of the theme park and like go into the better theme park, which is Riviera Resort.
Yes.
So you kind of saw a little bit. It wasn't as dark as it was, and I'm like, this is our chance. We're gonna get wet, but we could be here for 2 hours. So let's just try to make our break. And we got over. We didn't get too wet. We got over to our bus stop, and there was like a bus waiting, wasn't it? I mean, we
Yeah,
just
it was really good timing.
great bus experience.
As
Which I
much
don't
as I
say
love the Disney bus air conditioning, there's nothing worse than getting onto one after you just got soaked in a
Yeah.
storm.
You're
You feel like
freezing
you're
cold.
gonna die. Yeah.
Mhm.
So we headed over to Riviera, and
Room was ready.
room was ready. So we went up to our room, and it was beautiful, parts.
Yeah.
Oh, it was nice.
So what floor were you
Here,
on?
we were on the sixth
Sixth
floor.
floor.
Out of how many?
8.
8. Okay.
But we were talking about how when we did the tour, we thought it was a beautiful room. And you're standing there, and when you've only stayed in studios, you're like, oh my gosh, this room is so big. You don't realize how big it really is until you're staying in it
Yeah.
and you're actually using the space and you're existing in the space. I mean, the room's enormous. It was bigger than our first apartment.
By a couple hundred square feet. Yeah. Our first apartment was like
30 something?
630, and this is 813. 813 square feet.
That's pretty nice.
It's
For
nice.
2 people. Yeah.
Yeah, so he brought our bags up. We loaded the refrigerator. I brought my sleeping bag and pillow from home. I mean, because you're moving in.
Yeah, sure.
And what'd we do? We just unloaded everything. You unpacked, put everything on hangers. And I think we just sat on the couch, and I might have put golf on, or we were just watching our resort
We were
resort
going to
TV.
try and watch Princess and the Frog, and you couldn't get it.
Couldn't get my Disney Plus to cast.
You couldn't get it to link? That's usually pretty simple.
I can't get that or YouTube. I can get my Hulu TV, but I couldn't get Disney Plus.
Weird.
And that was the first day. Then the second day, I was able to get it to cast, but I cannot get YouTube to cast at all.
At Disney?
Yep.
Hmm.
So we watched TV, and we decided that first night was going to be our pizza night.
Yep.
So we kind of put out some feelers. I asked you guys, and Schaefer right away said to go to Flippers.
Yeah.
We're down in the lobby, and I said, hey, this place, about 20 minutes from here, it's got 4.8 rating. We've never heard of it, blah, blah, blah. Let me go ask Joe what he thinks. Hey, blah, blah, blah. These guys they got a car. They're going to go off campus to get a pizza. What do you recommend? Flippers. Like, all right, fine. It's majority rule.
That's what we got in the treehouse was Flippers.
And that's where we got in Orange Lake, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
You're a frequent Flipper flyer at this point.
Yeah.
Now,
Flipper flyer.
The one guy did say that if we were willing to drive to Winter Garden, there was a better place. What do you say? It was called AJ's, I think.
Yeah, but it was like a half-hour
Yeah, it was
drive. I don't
a
want to drive
longer
a
drive.
half hour.
Although by the time we got through the light, trying to get into the plaza.
192 is so bad, parts.
Disaster.
Sunday night at 8 o'clock, and there was one red light where it took 3.
Oh, dude,
Nice.
when we stayed over there, it was miserable. I hated it so much.
You told me you like that. That's when you decided I could never live here. You'd have to go. You'd have to go down by me or somewhere else. Because if that's your everyday, like when you're going grocery shopping, you just can't. You can't do it.
No.
So what we do? You got a couple of odds and ends that we forgot. I think we forgot eggs. You got
Celery.
there was a super Target over there, so I dropped her off at the front door. I went over to pick up the pizza, and And then we headed back to the resort.
How was the pizza?
Pizza was
That's
good.
good.
She wasn't a huge fan of the wings. We got
Yeah.
just regular mild wings, and then I got the hot sauce, and I dipped it, and the sauce was good. I thought the wings were good. She thought they were kind of
Burnt.
but the pizza was good, wasn't it?
Yeah, the pizza was good. Not the best
It-
I've ever had, but by far not the worst.
Yeah,
It's a perfectly fine takeout pizza.
it's a
it's prob-
fine takeout pizza. That's exactly what it is. It's much better than what you're gonna get at Disney.
And better than like Domino's. It's probably like
Yeah, by far, yeah.
7. Probably a 7, I would say. Flippers, like 7 out of 10. 6.5 maybe.
Yeah, you know what? It was a little too doughy. The crust was a little too
okay.
much. It was a little too much crust.
Like underdone or too much crust in general?
Too much
much
in a
crust and-
tiny bit underdone.
Yeah.
That's my new move is I always order my pizza well done the first time I go to a place just because
Mhm.
unless I know it, I'm gonna
Yeah,
get
that's
I'd
not a
rather
good
have
play.
it.
You
Never
should've just
think of
gotten
that.
Amare.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. That's true too.
Then that's the next play because we could take the Skyliner over there and get Amari. That's not a bad play. We watched fireworks on the balcony.
Nice from Epcot.
And the first night we saw it from was it both parks? Did we see both parks, or was that only in the
That was
Tower
the second
Studio?
night. No, we saw them on
Okay.
Monday night from both parks.
Is the balcony bigger in the one bedroom or is it the same size?
A little bigger than the studio, but it doesn't go. What I like about the
bedroom.
Grand Floridian is that it extends, so it does the living room and the bedroom.
Right.
Where this has a door that goes out, so you only get in
Bedroom.
the main bedroom lobby.
Oh, it's
part.
only off the bedroom. It's not off the living room.
That's correct.
you
Yeah,
have
so it doesn't
access,
extend.
but-
Yeah, you have
from the living room, but
access.
it doesn't extend
Gotcha.
across.
I would rather have the opposite, I think. But I
Yeah.
guess it doesn't really matter that much as long as you have one. But especially with a one bedroom, it's not like you're staying with other people.
Yep.
Well, but I mean, you could be.
True.
Yep.
And then if the people who are staying in the living room want to go out onto the balcony, now they're right outside your room.
True.
But I mean, that's very nitpicky.
Yeah, first world problem.
Right? Exactly.
Yeah, because if you look at the setup, if they were to have that balcony extend, it would have taken 5 feet off from the living area.
Right.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, so that was day one, right?
Yeah.
I don't think we did anything else
Mm-mm.
after that. You went to bed or whatever, a normal hour, and I just stayed up and looked at the light changes on the spaceship Earth until 1 in the morning, and then I called it a night.
Now, did you hang out in the main area a lot more because it was
Yes.
separate and you weren't
Yes.
disturbing Susie as
Mhm.
much?
Yep.
That's nice. Be able to go to the fridge, make your drink, whatever, have a few beers. Susie could be in there reading, go to bed, and you even have access to the bathroom, right? Without having to go into the bedroom. There's like the
Yeah,
Jack
you can go in from through the front door. As you enter the front door, to the right, the way ours was configured, to the right was where the bathroom is. There's a toilet, stand-up shower, and then in the other they have barn door from the bedroom into where they have a sink, and then they have that
Jetted tub.
Nice tub, yeah.
and then there's a close off for the shower and the
Right.
toilet. So, like your typical one bedroom configurations.
Yeah, but that's a really nice feature, though, if you want to really be separate, because you can still use the bathroom. You can still take a shower without disturbing the other person.
Yeah, like
Right.
if she like with Sarah who goes to bed early, if you want to take a shower before you went to bed,
Right.
there's actually 2 doors that you can close, locking off the main main bedroom. So it's perfect. Yeah, absolutely.
It was
There's only
so-
one toilet, though, right?
There is
There
only
is.
one toilet.
Yeah.
There is. Yeah, but as you were saying, it was so quiet. Like it was more quiet in that room than it is in our bedroom. Because we hear
Mhm.
like landscapers cutting the neighbor's lawn, and it was so quiet. And those Disney curtains blocked everything. Again, it's one of those where you grab your cell phone, it's like 8:45 and you think it's 6.
Because it's still dark, but it's
It's
not
just
dark.
dark and it's just quiet. You don't hear anything because you're not connected to the outside where all the kids are.
Yeah. Oh,
You have
true.
that layer of the bathrooms and then the bedrooms behind them.
Oh, so you're not even close to the hallway door.
Yeah, so you don't
Yeah.
have any hallway noise, which is perfect.
Yeah. That makes sense.
And then the studio connects on the other side of the living area, so you don't hear the people in the studio.
Gotcha.
And there really wasn't any noise. I mean, some of those resorts, you just hear the weasels going to the parks in the morning, do 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 do, running down the hallway, and like me being miserable, I almost want to just do like a hockey trip, just open the door, put my stick out there, and
But I mean, you didn't
put
even hear
little
the
Johnny Jr.
showering
down.
together
Yeah,
in the
you
Yeah.
couldn't
bedroom.
hear a
You didn't
thing.
hear any.
Anyway, so we go to day 2 now.
Monday was crappy. It rained.
Yeah, day 2 it was.
Oh, you said the weather was gonna be bad the whole time. Almost.
Yeah, well, it didn't end up being that bad. So
Oh, good.
Yeah, it was better, much better than we had anticipated, but Monday was pretty rainy, so I don't even think we left the room until what, 1-ish.
yeah,
We made breakfast, had coffee out on the balcony. We had what, sausage egg McMuffins,
McSusies, as you call them.
McSusies.
We had some McSusies.
Nice.
Um,
And it's a full pot of coffee too, right? You can make.
yeah, they don't have the half Keurig, which she likes. She likes the
Oh,
the
it's
pot
not
with the
half.
Keurig. Yeah,
It's just the
No.
whole
Yeah.
pot.
Yeah, I like
Which
the
actually
combo one.
worked out okay because then I was able to make him a couple iced coffees and worked out fine.
Are you starting to like the Joffrey's in room stuff, or you still don't like it that much?
I like it better than I did.
yeah, I do too.
And we brought some milk, so it was kind of nice because we weren't like, oh, there's only one creamer left.
Right.
Can you run down to Primo Piatto and grab some more?
And you don't realize, and that's what's a pain because I'll go down there and I'll take 10, but you don't realize that it takes 7 just to make up your normal milk portion. So I'm constantly, that made 1 cup. Now I got to go back down there again and put 7 more in my shorts. Those creamers suck.
I will say, housekeeping is very, very good about bringing you more supplies when you need them. But I think they understock to begin with, which, when you have a 3-night stay, you would think you would give people
3 nights worth.
3 nights worth or 3 days worth of coffee. And we only had 2 and a
That's
decaf.
true.
So it's little, again, nitpicky inconveniences. And then when you ask for more, they bring you
30.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like if you just put that in the room in the first place, it wouldn't have been a problem.
So then it got nice out, so we decided to go to Animal Kingdom.
Uh-huh.
So we took the bus over to Animal Kingdom. We were able to do Flight of Passage. That was like 30 minutes.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Oh, it's
30
not bad.
minutes. No, not bad at all. Then we did the Navi
Right
journey.
on. Yep.
That's just a slow loader because that's sometimes even more than Flight of Passage. That was
It's
like
super
35.
frustrating because I like that ride a lot, but it's not
Yeah, I
worth
do too,
waiting
but
more
I'm
than
not
10
sure.
minutes.
You're absolutely right. So we did that. And then she was kind of done. And I said, well, let me just I'll just do a quick single rider over on Everest. So the single rider was literally, I was the only person there. I mean, I didn't wait behind one person.
He was so fast that I didn't even think
She's
it
like,
was
"You're
possible
done already?"
for him to be through the ride already.
Yeah.
That's how it was when I did it in last summer. I was on and off in like less than 4 minutes.
Yeah, it was crazy.
So then that was it. And we headed back to Riviera.
Yeah, we were going to go back and swim, and then it got crappy again.
Yeah, it was one of those days. It got crappy again. So went back to the resort, hung out. I think that we took a nap that day.
Yeah, which,
Now-
it's really nice that we have separate spaces so that we don't have to nap together. And then this one decides he's going to come into the bedroom and nap with me, but then he puts the TV on. I'm like, well, that defeats the purpose
Yeah.
of having the separate space.
Put West News on and closed my eyes for 45 minutes. It was a beautiful thing, Pards.
Meanwhile, Susie's staring at the ceiling.
Exactly.
Now, that was Monday. Did you go to the extra hours? You have like Epcot, right, on Monday? Extra hours?
That was the plan, and we ended up not going.
Oh, okay.
What did I make? Shrimp scampi?
Yeah, that's right. Because I was messaging you,
Mhm.
and then I said I ended up watching the Celtics.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it was a Celtics Timberwolves doubleheader. Yep. So she made shrimp scampi. I watched basketball. We watched the fireworks again on the balcony.
Now, my question: in the one bedroom,
Mhm.
how's the ventilation? Shrimp scampi is really putting it to the test of if the whole room's going to smell like garlic and shrimp for the next 2 days, or if it
Oh, it
pretty
did, and it
much.
was
Yeah,
great.
that's good
Hmm.
because there's no. That's it's small enough, and especially if you're hanging out in the living space, if everything starts stinking like garlic for 3 days, or like if you make bacon in the morning, you know how that can just linger,
Right.
but it vents pretty well.
Yeah, I thought really well.
That's good.
And I think because that room is long, so
Mhm.
it vents out. So it's not like you have like your kitty corner kitchen where the stove is, where when you cook something, it's just going to sit in that small square footage, that small footprint.
Right.
It's just, I think it's very wide open where
Hmm.
you're able to ventilate
Well, and you
everything.
also do have, the full stove with the vent, so that helps.
Yeah, of course.
So that was
That was Monday.
Monday.
Do you enjoy cooking in the
Oh,
room?
Monday. Yeah, it was nice, but I went. You were watching something,
Yeah, that's right.
and
I
I
was
went
watching the
down
basketball
to
game.
Voyager's Lounge and had a glass of wine and just kind of sat. Called my mom because I missed her on Mother's Day, so talked to my mom for a little bit. Place was empty. It was great. Then I went back up because we were still trying to decide if we were going to go to Epcot, not go to Epcot.
Because that's
So
the Voyager Lounge is like that little book nook kind of thing in the
yeah,
Yeah, right
lobby,
behind
Yeah.
yep,
right behind the bakery, La
Yeah.
Petite,
La Patisserie.
La Patisserie.
Yeah, it was really nice.
Mm-hmm. So then Tuesday we got up, and that was what we do. We did bagels,
Bagels and cream cheese.
bagels and
Yep.
cream cheese, and fruit. We brought up some, cut up some strawberries and brought strawberries and blueberries up. So that was bagels and some fruit, and that was Hollywood Studios days.
Mhm.
So we had our coffee on the balcony, our breakfast. Went over this, took the Skyliner over to the studios.
Now, is this like a rope drop? Because you guys are turning it to rope drop.
No, we want to do rope drop, but we just slept so good in that bedroom that we just
Said the
we
heck
just
with
kind of said, you know what, whenever
Yeah.
we get up, we get up.
Well, and you were watching the game, so you were up later than you probably would have been otherwise.
So what did we do over there? We did
Oh, it was what? Oh, no, it was Monday night. Monday night I took my bath,
that's right, she did her bath.
which was very nice. That
How
tub
was
is
it?
lovely.
The jet's nice. Yeah.
Yeah, and you can adjust them.
Oh, that's good.
So you can increase or decrease the amount of bubbles. And it also has a self-cleaning feature. So when it drains, it like will clean the bottom of the tub. It's really nice.
Oh, so the soap doesn't linger
Yeah.
at the bottom. Yeah.
Yep. So that was lovely.
How
But
was
yeah,
Hollywood
Tuesday we did
Studios?
studios.
It was fine. It it was a 6, which was the lowest number when we're going, so that's why we decided. We waited half hour for Tower of Terror, 35 for Rock and Roller Coaster. And then did we call it a morning after that?
We call it a morning and then we went back later.
Yeah, we went back
Yeah,
later.
yeah.
Yeah. So we called it a morning. We went back to the room. She had made homemade chicken salad. So we had chicken salad sandwiches when we got up there.
So at this point, correct me if I'm wrong, you haven't spent any money on food yet.
No, what did we spend? We spent like a few bucks on something.
We got cheesecake at Pop Century.
Yeah, we got the cheesecake.
The tie-dye
No,
cheesecake.
that doesn't even count. I mean, it counts, but it doesn't really count.
Yeah, that was the first $6 that we spent, right?
Yep.
And then is that also because after we went, was it after we went to Animal Kingdom? Or I'm sorry, Hollywood Studios. That's when we went over to Pop.
No.
Because I know we also went over to the cake bake shop.
We went to Pop on Monday.
Okay. So Monday was when we went over to Pop and we
Yeah.
had the tie-dye cheesesteak. Tuesday that's right, after Hollywood Studios, we went over to Boardwalk area, Cake Bake. And we got a couple items and brought them back to the room.
Nice.
Yeah.
So then we got back to the room, hung out, watched TV, watched the news, and then it gets to a point where I'm like, yeah, I don't really want to do anything. Let's go back to Hollywood Studios. It was her who wanted to go to the parks.
Okay.
I'm like, I'm totally fine just staying here. No, let's go back to Hollywood Studios. So we went over there, and we got there late, like about an hour before they were going to close,
Yeah,
because we got there
hour and
just
a
before
half, maybe.
8,
Mm-hmm.
and we originally just wanted to do Toy Story. So we ended up doing Toy Story, and then it was about
Then you wanted to do Mickey.
I was going to
Minnie
do
and
Mickey and Minnie. She brought her band, so she was going to do it with me. And I looked, and the roller coaster was just as long of a wait as Mickey and Minnie's.
Oh, Slinky Dog.
So we ended up doing Slinky Dog. Exactly. Yeah, it was like what, 20 minutes or 25 minutes?
25.
Yeah. So we said we might as well close the park and do that. So that's what we ended up doing.
That's good.
Yep. And then what, we just heading back
We
to
went back and you made steak sandwiches.
yeah, we went back to Riviera, but
Late dinner.
but when we were at the Caribbean beach, all the Skyliners were down.
Right.
And
Well, not all the Skyliners, just the one back to Riviera.
the one back to Riviera and Epcot, something was going on, and they finally came on and said, we have no idea, but it could be a while. And they actually, what did they say? They were going to bring buses over to bus people
They
over.
had like the shuttle, I think the Caribbean Beach shuttle they were going to use to bring people to Riviera.
But it's only about a 10-minute walk, so we just ended up hoofing it back to Riviera.
Yeah, it's not that
It's
far.
actually a very pretty walk.
It's a really nice walk at night.
Oh yeah, that's good.
Yeah, it's really
You
nice.
just walk along the lake and it's nice.
Yeah, that's right. So I made some cheesesteaks when we got back. Had some cheesesteaks, hung out, went to bed. Actually, that's when we put in for late checkout.
And we did that the day before.
Okay, now you're splitting hairs, so whatever. So we asked for late checkout, and when we got there at night, they called us, right?
I think it was in the afternoon they called. It was earlier than I had expected to hear from them that they told us that they had given it to us. So check out at noon.
Check out at
Okay.
noon, and then they asked us if we needed anything, and you said you needed coffee.
Mm-hmm. And that was fast.
That was fast.
That
They
came
brought
like
the
5
coffee up.
minutes.
Oh yeah, nice.
So Wednesday morning, we had scrambled eggs, and we had, what did we get? Like a blueberry crumb cake at Cake Bake. So we had that with our eggs. I had on the balcony some more. Our showers packed up.
Checked out.
You said you saw the name change from Hurley to Walt Disney World guest, and that made you sad.
Don't like that. I do not like that.
And we
That's how
went
you
to
know
Epcot.
it's time to go.
Yeah, that's when it's time. Usually, like, 'cause even if we've been getting late checkout more so than
Almost,
not. Yeah,
yeah.
the last like the first 10 times we didn't get it, and like the last 3 or 4 we did.
When the Tower Studio, we didn't.
No, we didn't. So it's pretty much it's hit or miss.
But I think that's more because of the room type. Because they only have what,
A few of those,
24 of those
Right.
rooms. So
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So then we went over to Epcot. We didn't do much over there, though, did we?
we did Guardians.
We did Guardians. Guardians was 35 minutes.
Mhm. Got our new pass holder magnets.
McMuffin.
Oh yeah, that was like the first day they came out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What else did we do?
We got the magnets first, then we did Guardians. And then we did the China movie because I was
That's
under the
right.
impression that it was new, but it's the same 1986 movie.
Which I'm sure you're fine with.
I'm totally fine with. I don't want a new
Yeah.
movie. I want the
Right.
old one
Yeah.
where they're wearing the Chuck Taylors around. Yeah, I don't want the new. Don't give me the new stuff.
And we got our green iced teas.
Got the green iced teas in Japan.
Talked to some other DVC owners.
They overheard us talking about the 1-bedroom.
Oh yeah.
The mother, daughter, and the daughter's thinking about buying. She just moved down here with her boyfriend. Who's in the military, and they're debating on where they want to buy, and did like a little Addicted to DVC roadshow with them.
Oh, did you give him the card?
No, I didn't give him a card. No, I didn't give him a card.
I think that's it.
Yeah, that's about
I don't
it.
know anything else.
No,
did I?
because we were going to go swimming, but we got back to the resort and we only had a little bit of time left. We hung out at the resort for a while. We went down we hung out at in the library, Voyages Lounge, and then we went downstairs in the courtyard and sat on the swing for a while.
Mhm.
Went in the gift shop and bought a pullover because I get that
Oh.
20% discount parts.
You got to use it.
Got to
Okay.
use it.
And the hat that you lost on
I lost a hat.
Rock and Roller Coaster.
Lost
Oh,
my hat
really?
on a rock and roller coaster. I had it on backwards and it still flew out.
Yeah, I always just hold it. I always just put it in my hand like this, and I hold this
Yeah.
part.
Yep. And that was it. And then we finished off at
Toledo.
which you'll hear on our WDW Beyond the Gates podcast, which
Oh, that's called the
was
cross
released
promotion parts.
yesterday, a cross promotion
Yes.
about Toledo review.
Nice. Because that was the first day where you could get 40% off there.
That is correct, my friend.
Very cool.
But I don't know. I didn't really think I was going to enjoy the room as much as we did.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we really could have just spent the whole time in the room
Yeah.
and we would have been fine.
Now, do you feel like you spent more time in the room
Yes.
because you felt like you had to, or
No.
you wanted to?
I knew
or
where
just
you were
because
going.
cooking?
No. No, it like I told her, it sounds weird. It was the first time like I felt that I owned Disney Vacation Club because all the other times we were staying in studios in their hotel rooms.
Yeah.
And a lot of these they're cash hotel rooms,
Right.
whether it be the Grand Floridian or Copper Creek or you name it, Animal Kingdom, they're just hotel rooms. But this honestly felt like I was living there for 3 days. Like I said, I brought my pillow, my sleeping bag. I'd sit on the couch like I do here and throw the sleeping bag over me while I'm watching a basketball game.
Yeah.
And it just felt like you are in your house and then, I can take an elevator down and jump on a Skyliner and be in Epcot in 5 minutes and then be back into my house. And the other thing that was so nice by bringing all of our food is you save so much time because when we got back to the room, we just have a sandwich.
Yeah.
And
So you're not sitting in the restaurant
for 45 minutes or an hour or whatever.
That's true. And plus, you guys like to cook, so it's not like it's a chore.
Correct. Really. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, they had everything. I mean, like all the storage stuff. I mean, like we had, like they have the glass, storage stuff. So we put the leftover shrimp scampi in there, which was great.
I guess I didn't really think about that. You guys living so close, you could have brought like your own Tupperware to bring stuff back that you didn't finish, which you may have.
Oh, we actually did. We had tuna?
Yeah, we had leftover tuna, and she makes tuna stuffed tomato.
Mm-hmm.
So when we were done with the tuna, we just cleaned that dish out or that Tupperware out, and then that's what we used to bring back our shrimp scampi leftovers. So,
but now in the future, next time you stay, you have to bring a couple empty things for all your.
Not a bad play.
Yeah.
You could bring a couple just to be in case.
But I did have some Ziploc bags in case. I did think ahead a little bit.
Oh well, that's just as good. Ziplocs, yeah.
Yeah.
Same difference.
But, it was just nice because then you like said, our plan was to just kind of hang out by the pool. And so I made a couple chicken salad sandwiches and put them in the cooler with, a couple sodas and our water. So we were good to go when we got back from Epcot. And then we did actually eat them. We ate them
in the court.
Voyagers.
Yeah, in Voyagers, yeah.
Now, let me ask you, as someone that's coming from far away, and I'm not going to be bringing food with me. I'm going to have to buy it when I'm there if I want to cook. Is it worth all the extra stuff? That's the hard thing. I'd have to buy a whole thing of olive oil, a salt and pepper shaker, garlic powder, all that extra stuff, which you guys brought and then brought back, presumably.
Right.
Do you think that's a big stumbling? I feel like the first time it's going to be very expensive just to get the basics. And then you got to do the owner's locker after that. That could be another topic for another show, Mike.
Yeah.
I mean, I had said to Mike, from a salt and pepper standpoint, you can always just run down to
Primo Piatto.
The quick service at whatever.
You get a lot of condiments down there.
Salt and pepper, but then, it's each little packet for however much seasoning you need.
Go ask the chef if you can get some chopped garlic. Yeah, you got a few extra cloves of garlic back there, chef?
How much oregano do you have back there?
I mean, but you're not. You're going to be in a 2-bedroom, but you guys aren't planning on cooking, right?
Yeah, we were going to do breakfast a couple times, maybe do dinner.
Oh, so you're not doing the dining plan?
No, we're not doing the dining plan.
I gotcha. Okay.
Because I'd have to buy it for all 8 of us.
Right.
You can't pick and choose the.
That's right.
People
okay.
We're eating at a few restaurants. We're not cooking every time, but we're gonna definitely do some of that. So I'm gonna think about doing an owner's locker for this time. Let's talk about that in a week or two.
Yeah, well, I think next week maybe we'll do our Typhoon Lagoon Moonlight Magic.
Okay.
We'll be there actually the day before this releases.
All right. Well, we'll do that next week then.
When I try to get Susie's going to be up in Rhode Island, so we're working on getting her remote access.
Okay.
I don't know if you got that email about
I didn't
reaching out to human resources so we can get Susie remote access.
We'll figure it out. Any final thoughts? Or you want to wrap it up here?
No. Do you have any more questions?
Not really. I just
like I said, I liked it a lot more, and that room is much larger than I thought it was.
Yeah, we'll do another show about the best one bed, but this one bedroom was ridiculous. It was just huge, immaculate.
Yeah,
great room.
Could you ever justify 2 bedrooms
for the 2 of us?
Yeah.
No. When we bring her mom, absolutely.
Yeah. Wouldn't you like to justify 2 bedrooms though? Wouldn't it be so stupid to do that?
What would you just put your luggage there?
I guess.
Sleep in separate rooms.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Just more space.
And then you're guaranteed that there's no weasels next door running the corridor.
There you go.
Right? We block off a family full of weasels.
Just rent the whole floor.
That's what the rich people do. They just Michael Jackson just takes a floor. Wouldn't that be nice?
Right. That would be pretty good.
And you got to get the upstairs so that the little weasels aren't stomping in the kitchen too.
Yeah, you need the 3 floors and you need to stay in the middle.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, bring us home.
Anyways, you can find us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube at DVC Addicts. Email the show info@addictedtodvc.com and join our Facebook group, DVC Addicts. For my cousin and co-host Gary in Rhode Island, and for Susie in Florida, I'm Mike in Florida. Thanks for listening, and we'll talk again next week.
Thank you for listening to the Addicted to DVC podcast with Mike and Gary. We want to hear from you. Email us at info@addictedtodvc.com and follow us on all socials at DVC Addicts. We appreciate you being a part of our DVC community, and we'll see you again on our next episode. Thanks again for listening, and welcome home.